everyone, I'm Meredith. And listen, I'm just a girl stuck in my apartment. Well, it's a newish apartment for a couple of weeks. We'll get into all of that. And I'm still just looking for someone to talk to. So I found some people. My guest today is Patrick Martinez. Patrick is a florist. Full disclosure, he's my wedding florist, and he's the owner of City Iris in New York City. We're talking about how his industry has been massively affected by the pandemic, new trends in floral designs, and what you should expect when you're ordering flowers now. But before Patrick and I get into all of that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Let's Talk About It YouTube channel. I don't want you missing out on new videos, and this way, once you subscribe, you'll get email notifications when new episodes come out. So go ahead, like and subscribe below. Patrick and I will wait. Did you do it? Okay, great. Patrick, thanks so much for being here. Let's talk about it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk and, just put it all out there.
Absolutely. I want to start with not the elephant in the room, but the mask on the face. You're my first guest.
Uh-huh.
A mask during the interview, and we were talking a little bit before about why you're doing that, because we're not in the same room, obviously.
We're not.
We are more than socially distanced. We are virtually distanced. But what's going on? Why are you wearing a mask?
Well, as a precaution, I had way more contact with people this weekend than expected. I obviously don't live alone, work alone. I have people surrounding me. So just to keep safe and avoid any precaution, as a precaution, I'm wearing a mask. And I'm asking everyone else around me as well. Testing has become priority now. I'm scheduled for another test tomorrow. So once you know, you just feel better. And by the way, I want to mention the one thing that has kept me and anyone else in this industry going is the fact that couples are still planning for 2021. And that's the only thing that gives you hope.
Talk to me about the market and buying flowers.
It's dead. It's dead. And it's also gotten very expensive because everything is harder to get.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
What's the availability like? What should people expect in terms of prices that you were once, used to?
You can't necessarily promise anything specific anymore.
Really?
It's got to be a very much go with what's available. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a certain color scheme that you can stick to. It's not that extreme, but you have to be open to, like, if you wanted soft pink, you may end up with dark pink. Mm-hmm. That's just to give you an example.
What are the flowers that are the hardest to find right now?
So flowers that were outsourced, flowers that were coming in from, like, Holland, the good stuff. Just to kind of give you a perspective, peonies now are $6.50 a stem, my price. Okay? So if you called me, Meredith, and you said, okay, I would love a bouquet of peonies to give to someone as a gift. Let's just say I get 5 stems. That's already $35, plus a vase, plus the arrangement, plus delivery. So how much can I charge you?
Right. How much am I going to be willing to spend?
How much exactly? And fairly, because I would feel uncomfortable saying, oh, it's $150. Like, what?
Stems, right.
Is it worth it?
Right. What would something like that have gone for before COVID? What was a peony?
Three. 275.
So we are double the price, at least.
Triple.
Just for the stem.
We're at triple, honey.
Yikes.
We're at triple. And this is now when the pandemic started for April, May, and people started to kind of, do small stuff, because for a while everything just shut down, remember. When people started to do smaller micro weddings at home, they were selling 10 stems of peonies for $75.
Especially in terms of weddings, like, what are the trends right now and that have come out of the pandemic?
Smaller.
Just small.
That's it. Everything else is the same, just smaller.
Do you miss those huge, giant?
Of course. Of course. I mean,
yeah. I know I was the only bride who came to you and said, I want the tiniest little bouquet ever.
Yeah, but we did everything else big, which I loved, But no, because you got to understand, you miss it. There's two aspects of it. There's the personal side as a business owner, People, oh, wow, this is beautiful. That feeling of walking into a room full of beautiful, as a designer, as an artist, that's like the most amazing thing. But it's also your job
Hmm.
because for a Saturday wedding, I'm already working by Wednesday. Do you know what I'm saying? So I miss the productivity. I miss all of it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. And to be in a situation where you've been doing something for so many years and all of a sudden it stops, it's very difficult. You kind of start going through this mental thing like, what have I been doing with my life? Like, am I that, or is this business so insignificant that it just stops? Do you know what I mean?
What are you looking forward to for next year? A wedding season, a season of events.
Stability, stability, you know, that peace of mind. Is this going to be canceled? Is this wedding going to happen?
So even if
You know,
there's less on the books, just stability that what you have will stay.
just stability. Yeah. Being able to plan ahead and safely also, never having to worry that you had a conversation with someone and you may get sick because of it, you know?
Sounds just ridiculously stressful. You're not
It
even.
is. It is very stressful. It is very stressful. It is. There's also the fear for anyone related in this business. Thankfully, most of my clients have rescheduled for 2021 or had smaller affairs over the summer, much smaller. But what about the ones that want to cancel? What if they decide I can't continue, next month, next year? I already had that situation.
What do
Flat
you
out,
do in that?
it's very difficult. It's only happened twice. One time I ended up giving the money back in full. Um, The second time I had to charge a cancellation fee, you know, which is normally 30% of the total, depending on how soon before the wedding. I lowered it to 20%, but I had already done a demo. You know what I'm saying? I had already put a lot into it. I already had purchased all the vases we were using for the wedding. So I had to charge a cancellation fee. And I felt very bad about doing that, because client was understanding. But I felt bad about that because that's basically you're losing. Everyone loses.
Yeah. It sounds like you deal with just a new and almost anxiety. Any business you book these days, which normally would just be a good thing,
Yeah,
now you're worrying, is it going to fall through? Did you have
100%.
the kind of
Every
anxiety before all of this? I can't imagine you thought
no,
your wedding and
no.
couple that you put on the books would be one that wasn't, that 50-50, 60-40 wasn't even going to happen.
This is all new. This. Before the only anxiety that you felt was living up to the couple's dreams. You know, and it was a realistic anxiety because obviously you have a good sense that you can do what your couples want. It was just a matter of making it happen,
Right.
and the small little challenges you run into along the way, but very small things that kind of makes you put things in perspective, what real problems now look like.
Right.
Everything now is tentative. Everything now is subject. Like you have to have a conversation. What if we cancel? How do we cancel? Where before that only came up like canceling came up maybe like once out of every 10 couples, and it was because there might be some sort of a health factor
Right.
going on, but
Right.
that wasn't part of the conversation, maybe, or whatever. Everything is maybe now.
Have you changed your contract terms, like your general contract terms of what falls under a force majeure, how the pandemic is affecting agreements going forward?
I had to. I had to. For couples that are booking now,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
for couples, because thankfully the couples that I had before, that just didn't come up. It was more of a matter of we're going to do it this day, you know, let's work through this. But new couples now, the first thing they want to know is what happens if the wedding is canceled due to
Right.
COVID. That's like the first thing.
I mean, that would never have you just would never have come up with that in your mind. And I
Yep,
can speak to as a bride, like you
yep,
of all of the things you think of, at least for me, I
yep,
thought it
yep.
was not something I was thinking or worried about.
Yeah, no, questions now pretty much is about what happens if we don't do it,
Yeah.
because
Right.
there's not even that, and a lot of the couples that are doing it kind of has to do it. So there's no longer that excitement. Do you know what I'm saying? Of we're getting married. It's more
I
like,
get
okay,
it. I get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's bitter, a little. There's bittersweetness. Like
yeah,
this
yeah,
wasn't what you thought it was going to be, and you don't
yeah,
know when you're getting exactly what you want, but you're happy
yeah,
to be finally doing it. And
yeah.
so I get that for sure.
Interestingly enough, though, there have been one or two couples that are kind of happy because we still have couples that do the big wedding to make the family happy. So even though publicly they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to scale back," privately they're like, "Yes,
Yeah,
4 people, and that's it," because they just didn't
like
want to deal with the whole. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I
yeah,
can understand that too because even a 15-person wedding, that's
yeah,
what we had, was incredibly stressful. And
yeah,
yeah, and it
yeah,
was like planning a whole new affair, and it was 15 people. And
yeah,
afterwards, I thought, how am I going to be able to do this
yeah,
with again and with so
yeah.
many more people?
On a much bigger scale. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, well, things to look forward to, right? Because
Yes,
we're going to get back into a normal wedding season.
yeah,
I'd like to eventually put on a wedding dress.
yes.
Not right after Thanksgiving. Not right after Thanksgiving. No,
Yeah,
no,
well,
thank you.
thankfully we have that time. Yeah.
No, I know. I keep saying that, but the time is
Yes, it goes quickly.
like that's why I'm like June. I need that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It goes quickly. I mean, this time last year we were meeting for the first time doing a demo. And that feels like it just happened yesterday. It
and
was
and,
already
and
it's
it's
already been a year.
wild, right?
Yes, wild. Wild but fun.
Well, Patrick, keep creating beautiful arrangements. You make people happy,
Thank you.
okay? And
Thank
we will
you.
have a wedding season again and more beautiful affairs for you to make even more beautiful.
So I want to also thank you on two different notes. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come out and just putting it all out there, giving people a sense of what's happening on the industry. But I also want to thank you as a bride, as a client, because you have been the ideal. You've been so optimistic with everything, and even when you mentioned how your grandmother and the pandemic they were going through and stuff, how sometimes you never know, you know what I'm saying? And what's really important about getting married, that just really makes a big difference, you know? So you have been lovely, Andrew as well. Not every client has been that way. So I want to share a special thank you for
Thank
that
you, Patrick.
because it
Thank
really makes a big difference.
and
Yeah.
thank you for talking and thank you all for being with us today. This has been Let's Talk About It. We'll talk to you next time.